This is the story of a married couple whose arguments got out of hand and became fatal. What happened, you may ask? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to our channel. This is Criminal Activities. Tracy Scott, 48 years old at the time of the crime, was married to his wife, Tracy Scott, for 18 years. They had two sons, ages 16 and 13 at the time. Their oldest son's name is Thane, and their youngest son's name is Tyson. They lived in Salem, Utah, and their life was far from perfect. Tracy and Teresa's marriage was both good and bad, oscillating between loving, happy times and explosive fights. Both of their sons testified that their parents' relationship had been rocky, with frequent arguing and fighting. Thane described an argument his parents had years prior over how to spend their tax return money. Tracy wanted to buy a new weapon, but Teresa wanted to spend the money on their house roof. Since they couldn't come to an agreement, his dad ended up being very verbal, yelling and screaming at Teresa. Thane said how his mother was, and I quote, "not as mad as he would get," end quote. Another argument between Tracy and Teresa brought up by Thane was from the year 2006. The family was on their way to a Christmas party when someone remembered their garage door was never closed, which resulted in a fight. Tracy punched Teresa in the stomach, according to Thane, and Tracy was arrested on suspicion of domestic violence. This validated later in court proceedings how abusive Tracy was towards Teresa. Thane also said he never saw Teresa physically assault his father. Another incident recalled by Tyson was when his dad tried to hit his mom with their Dodge Durango. I say all of this to demonstrate just how violent Tracy was towards his wife. He was said to be very abusive towards Teresa and had a terrible temper. Tracy described his marriage with Teresa in trial saying, and I quote, "We were two peas in a pod. We loved each other." But he followed up with saying how they constantly fought and bickered with each other. He said how their fights got pretty bad, and their fights leading up to his wife's death got even worse. He said, "It was get in your face, yell, scream at each other, spit flying. It was a lot worse than it had ever been." The day before tragedy struck, it was March 22, 2013. The couple had broken out into an argument over oil that had been spilt by Tracy in the driveway as he was changing the oil in the family car, according to court documents. March 23rd, Tracy's abusive side had taken a fatal turn. Their sons had left the home sometime that day, which left Teresa alone with Tracy. During cross-examination, the son said the time they were home, the fighting on this day was more contentious than normal. The fight grew with intensity, and according to Tracy, at one point he discovered his wife crouched by their bed, and he realized their gun safe was pulled out and open, and Teresa's gun was missing. Tracy testified later in court that he was, quote, "scared to death," so he left the house but returned later to confront Teresa. Teresa supposedly called her mother just before the incident to talk about her and Tracy's argument. When Tracy walked back into their bedroom to confront his wife, he also mentioned how his wife was pointing her camera phone at him, likely trying to take a video or picture of him. According to Tracy, this was something they had done in their arguments as a way to show their family and friends that the other was at fault for the fights. She then allegedly shouted at him, and he grabbed his own gun from the open safe and pulled the trigger.
911, what's the address of your emergency? Repeat the address for verification.
Salem, Utah.
Salem?
Yep.
What's the phone number you're calling from? Okay, that's what I'm showing. What's the problem? Tell me exactly what's happened.
There's been a shooting.
Okay, who was shot?
My wife was shot.
Was it self-inflicted?
No,
Who shot her?
I did.
Do you still have the weapon?
Yes, I do.
Is she awake?
No, she's dead.
What is your name?
Tracy
What's your last name?
Scott.
Where's the gun right now?
In my hand.
Can you put it down?
I don't know yet.
What kind of gun is it?
It's a 45.
Is it a handgun?
Yes.
Okay, Tracy, can you put that down for me? Let me get some help to you.
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Okay.
How come you...
I had 2 children that I just totally destroyed their lives. They're not even here.
Is there anyone else at the house with you?
No. Nope.
Okay, did you guys get in a fight or what happened?
We've been fighting for the last 2 weeks, all really straight.
Okay, where did you shoot her at?
In the bedroom. She got off the phone with her mother complaining about me, telling me how she's tired of it and this and that. And
Tracy, what part of her body did you shoot her?
I don't remember.
Can you go in and see if she's conscious?
She was going to take it. No, she was going to take a picture of me, and it just went off.
Okay, Tracy, can I have you go in there and see if she's conscious? See if we can help her, okay? Can you do that for me?
No, she's dead. She's not moving.
Can you go over there by her?
No.
How old is she?
38. 37.
And you are sure she's beyond any help?
Yes. Okay, swatch here.
Tracy, stay on the phone with me for a second, okay? What's your phone number?
Tell them not to come in. I have to make a phone call.
Tracy, can you...
Officers responded to the 911 call and heard Tracy outside the home when they arrived yelling, "I just shot my wife. She's dead." He then put his hands up, knelt down, and got into the prone position. Police mentioned later in court that Tracy was crying uncontrollably as he was being arrested, and he told officers that he just snapped. Tracy would later testify in court, and I quote, "I snapped. I just seen red. I went storming into the bedroom. She's laying on the bed, and she's got her cell phone camera pointed at me." When police found Teresa, she was sitting still on their bed with her crochet hook and yarn draped on her lap, her legs extended and crossed at the ankles. She was pronounced deceased at the scene. She was shot 3 times in the face and chest with a .45 caliber pistol. During trial, Tracy attempted to testify he saw the open gun safe and missing weapon as a threat. However, prosecutors objected and called it hearsay evidence. Tracy's attorney obviously did not object since the issue was vital to Tracy's defense. His attorney petitioned the jury to find Tracy to be guilty of a lesser offense of manslaughter. His argument being that Tracy shot his wife under extreme emotional distress. However, the jury disagreed and found Tracy guilty of murder. On the 911 call with dispatch, there was no mention of him being fearful of his life, as he would later testify in court. Deputy Utah County Attorney David Sturgill said, and I quote, "The reason he didn't mention those things, the gun or the fear for his life, is that it didn't happen." Judge Michelle Christiansen, who concurred with the ruling, also voiced an opinion that Tracy should not have been eligible for the extreme emotional distress defense. Judge Christiansen said, and I quote, "After Scott had abused and threatened her over the course of several years, he shot an unarmed Teresa 3 times, including once in the mouth, while she was lying on their bed with her cell phone in her hand. In my view, this reaction to the marital difficulties, combined with an alleged threat by Teresa, does not create a situation in which Scott should be able to claim he was exposed to extreme emotional distress that would reasonably explain and mitigate his loss of self-control." Tracy testified that he reached down, grabbed a gun off the floor, cocked it, and fired. On the witness stand, Tracy was emotional, but his voice was flat and calm when he called dispatchers and told them about his wife. Tracy was sentenced to a term of 15 years to life in the Utah State Prison on August 22, 2014, after a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder. But I want to know your opinion on this case. Do you believe Tracy's testimony of his wife posing a threat? Or do you think Tracy's anger just got the best of him? I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. This is Criminal Activities signing off. Stay safe out there.